Hi, Democrats. Today is Thursday, August 12th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Thursday. So, every day I come to you guys and I say I'm going to talk about bills, electeds, and elections. And every day I have to come up with something that I think that Democrats want to hear about. I have to come up with things that I think helps move the needle towards getting more Democrats elected. And so I watch the news. I talk to elected officials. I do research. I don't just come here and ramble. And today I spent a really good evening with a little bit more than half of the Democrats in the House caucus yesterday. And, really good conversations, because sometimes we just need to spend time with one another to get to know each other and feel each other out and know what we're thinking about so that we can be on the same page. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll get something from that to talk about. No, what I got from that is that we have elected some really good and caring people, and that just gives me hope. And I talk about hope a whole lot, but that is what feeds me. That's how I get up every day. So today, this is going to be a weird one, but I want to talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because I live in Oklahoma, and I've lived in Oklahoma for 90% of my life, and certainly for as long as I've been able to vote. And, the question comes up, how did Arnold Schwarzenegger, not born in America, an actor, how did he become governor? He became governor as a result of a recall petition. I think it was Gray. I think the guy's name was Gray, that they recalled. Governor Schwarzenegger's name was one of the names that they listed. And in California, when they do a recall, they have to ask two questions they're asking two questions of the voters. Has the elected official done something bad enough to be recalled? And if so, who replaces them? They came up with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they reelected him. So of course they were happy with it. Then you look at Andrew Cuomo. Why didn't he leave earlier? I have no idea. But I think, did he do something bad enough to be recalled? And if so, who replaces him? That's the question that Gavin Newsom is contemplating right now. And then I think back to Oklahoma, and I think about our governor. Right now we're in a fight about the ban on public health measures, right? The thing that he signed into law that says that individual municipalities and school boards can't mandate masks and cannot require vaccines. I don't know if mandating masks and requiring vaccines is the right answer. For those who hang out with me, it is the right answer, but I don't know if it's the right answer for the state. But I'm not running a school board, and I don't know what happens right there. And I think that those closest to the problem should be the ones who answers the problem, who answers the question. But our governor signed that into law. Our governor discontinued unemployment benefits prematurely, just out of spite. And, it was supposed to be, but if you get a job, we'll pay out. They haven't paid out very many folks. And, I talked about it yesterday. Our unemployment numbers are at the same level as pre-COVID. So it's not that people are lazy and don't want to go back to work. Our governor keeps coming up with new lawsuits to fight with our tribes, and he keeps losing. So it's not even just that he keeps finding reasons to not be happy with what's happening with our sovereign nations, but he's picking fights and he's losing, spending money in the process. He keeps hiring his friends, regardless of qualifications. I mean, we have an attorney general who's been deemed incompetent. That was all on him. That wasn't on the people who vote on that. He appointed that person. He spent our CARES Act money, a lot of our CARES Act money, on commercials for tourism and, updating the welcome centers in the state during a pandemic when people weren't traveling. Let's not talk about all the hydrochloroquine that he had hanging out in storage and the masks he paid for and didn't get. Whew. I bet he is sitting somewhere being so grateful that we don't have a recall option in Oklahoma. We don't have a recall option in Oklahoma. Maybe we should. There are a lot of things in Oklahoma that are geared towards the majority. that it works out, that they get to keep their jobs, whether they're doing a good job or not. And then for those things that allow us to participate in what I call direct democracy, where we get to say directly to our legislators, this is what we think, the petition process, they're going out of their way to try and make that process harder. Protesting, they're going out of that way to criminalize that behavior. We don't have the recall petition. And so basically, a lot of our elected officials, and I'm going to say the majority because they get to make the decisions regardless of what we think. The majority has basically said, we get to decide what happens in Oklahoma, not the voters, all the way down to them picking their voters rather than us picking them. It is super important that as Democrats, as moderate leaning people, as people who think, that we show up and we make sure that our elected officials know what we think and know what's important to us. I'm in an enviable position in that I have most of the elected officials, if not all, in my cell phone, and I can call them and I can talk to them. But that's not just because I'm chair. Most of those I got because of my participation in the process. I am strongly urging you to find out the number of your elected official, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican, get their number and call them and let them know. And if you're not comfortable calling folks, email them and let them know. It's important that we participate in the process no matter how hard they try to keep us from doing it. We have to participate and they need to hear us. They're the majority. They're not the all. Majority because we're not showing up. So big, long-winded way of saying, and I got inspired. Like I said, I hung out with a bunch of our elected officials, Democrats, elected officials yesterday. And I am constantly amazed at just how decent people they are. And when I talked about specific issues, you know, my representative was there, but there were other representatives there who had ideas and suggestions and suggested that I email them, call them and let them know. And how could they help me? Because I'm a voter, just like you're a voter. Find out who your representative is, Republican or Democrat. Save their name in your phone. Email them the things that you care about. Now, don't waste their time with things like, I don't like my neighbor. But those kinds of things that we vote on all the time, they need to hear about it. They need to hear about it. And so, yeah, I'm supposed to talk about bills, elected officials, and elections. But today I felt compelled to talk about the fact that we have lost our way. We are not saying what we need to say. We are not making sure that we are being heard. And the furthest ends, the most radical, particularly the most radical right, are being heard. They're making their voices loud and clear. And we can't let them sway because they say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And yesterday, the fringe of the right now it happens to be their leadership, is out spewing hate. He released a video spewing hate and just horrible nonsense. We can't let him be the loudest voice. We can't let him be the only voice. So care about something, show up, and make sure that your elected officials know who you are. Be polite. Be polite. People will hear you. And you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and I shall see you tomorrow at 4:15.